The gentleman yields back. The chair now recognizes the gentlewoman from Arizona, Ms. Lesko, for 5 minutes.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm really excited to be on the Energy and Commerce Committee and on the Energy Subcommittee and talking about energy because it's vital to every aspect of our lives. I represent the Phoenix, Arizona area and its suburbs, and right outside of my district is the Palo Verde nuclear plant. It is the largest power producer in the nation for almost the last 30 years. Recently, last year, Palo Verde nuclear plant in Arizona was awarded funds from the Department of Energy to increase its flexibility by creating hydrogen when selling to the grid isn't economical. My question, Mr. Daber, what more needs to happen to increase the deployment of energy technology like hydrogen?
So we awarded the money around increasing hydrogen production across the nuclear facilities. Hydrogen is a storage vehicle. So if you think about it, the comparison, you produce electricity and you can store it in chemical form, or you can store it in gaseous form, so in hydrogen, or you can do it in liquids, as I was talking about earlier. And so hydrogen has a great opportunity for an additional storage. The other thing that's really exciting about hydrogen is that some industrial uses cannot really use electricity, okay? So the likelihood of electrifying certain industries is quite poor, right, around certain things like steel and concrete. So if you can take that electricity and put it into something that can produce a much higher heat rate for that manufacturing, it's going to create an opportunity for those industrial to, quote, electrify, but it's electrify via converting it to hydrogen.
Exciting. That's the one thing I like about energy. A lot of new technology going on. Exciting that I think can solve a lot of our energy needs in America. Mr. McNally, in your written and verbal testimony, you recommended the establishment of a National Commission on Energy Transition Realism, an expert, nonpartisan commission of renowned energy experts to advise government officials and evaluate policy options for energy transmissions. I love it. I think it's common sense. Sounds like a great idea to me. The United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the UNIPCC, in a report issued last year, pointed out that collectively the G20 members are not on track to meet their goals under the Paris Climate Agreement. The UNIPCC also states in its latest assessment that global warming at the end of the century is estimated at 2.7 degrees Celsius, not even close to the Paris Climate Agreement of 1.5 degrees. The Biden administration is spending trillions of dollars on solutions that are not working, according to the UNIPCC. Don't you think it's time the administration has an honest conversation on spending trillions of dollars on ideas that, according to the UNIPCC, aren't working?
Thank you, Congressman Lesko. I certainly do. I see a sound and serious climate policy as having a foundation, like a house has a foundation. And the quality of the foundation will determine whether this house is safe to build in and live in and so forth. And the foundation ought to be depoliticized transmission of science to non-experts like all of us. And the concern with the IPCC reports, actually, and the Summary for Policymakers, the SPM, is the folks who are decoding the complicated climate science and explaining it to all of us are government officials. And they don't have the rigorous peer review and requirements to be transparent like you do in actual climate science. So I'd respectfully suggest that perhaps your side of the aisle, make it very clear you embrace climate science. The problem is not climate science. It's how it's transmitted to the rest of us, because it's pretty complicated, in these IPCC reports. And let's have reforms to make sure it's honest, peer-reviewed, and a good foundation upon which for us to debate sound policies to address the problem.
Fantastic. And in the 13 seconds I have left, thank you for being here once again and telling us and representing low-income communities and minority communities and speaking up. Thank you. And I yield back.